hierarchy in my family. Like an uncle that I look up to. Talk to him first. Talk to like just other seasoned professional black men. And come to find out, I wasn't by myself. They had dealt with similar things just as I had. And had, again, in persona or the Facebook profile, everything is good, everything is Gucci, as they say. But in reality, we all have our flaws and our issues. So that made me feel more comfortable. And then I'm not going to say I fell to the bottom, but I just hit the point where I was like, I need to go. And, I think even the first day just walking in there in the building, it was like a release off your body. I think we fail to realize what therapy would do for you because you never tried it. So if you never tried it, you really don't know. And I remember going to the first session feeling like weight was lifted off of me. So I think that's an issue that we need to look at. I'm not going to say luring people to mental health, but I think if more people talked about it, if it was a more so trending thing, I think more people would do it. But I think, like I said, once again, I saw the fraternity doing a lot of initiatives around it. I was like, how can I be a member and not even check myself, but go out to the community and say, hey, you need to get checked. I did my own self-inventory first, and then, start working on self. So it's been a journey. I feel like I've learned that, as the brother said, there were more booms in me than I really knew. Because when you go to a true therapist, you'll go in for A, they'll unpack 3 more things, just like we had today. Okay? You going for 1, that was 5, okay? Right. Not saying they're doing it to increase sessions, but to make you see, there's some underpinnings to your thoughts. So it's really been helpful for me.
I have a question, and I'm only asking for our listening audience. Is there, if you feel comfortable, can you share one specific thought that you had? Because I'm sure people in the listening audience are going, well, I'm not sure if I'm experiencing trauma or if this is just a regular thought process for me. So share with our audience one thing, if you could. What was that thought? What made you say, man, this ain't right.
Okay.
I need to go seek some help. I need to clear up my mind. Put it in perspective for our listeners.
So what did it for me, when you're dealing with issues in your mind, stuff will start replaying. And it's like you're trying to get the final cut, but you cannot. And one thing that clicked to me, I was like, Lord, what's going on? The stuff that's supposed to be easy is hard. The stuff that's supposed to be hard is easy. So for me, I could write a 15-page paper, 30 sources. Boom, I got it. I could go speak, to teens or wherever needed. I have several publications out there. I get called for different things. Boom. But I was like, what about self? That's your hard part.
What were you saying about yourself?
I was like, I'm lost. I was saying, I'm lost. Something's not right, and I need to really sit down with somebody. And I think I knew I was at that point where it went past church and it went past home. It was like I need to sit down with somebody and unpack this stuff.
Yeah. Would you say that you were experiencing depression?
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm trying.
I'm trying to get to.
I'm trying to get
that's
to.
Fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. Would you say it was definitely depression. So I knew I said I need to go sit down.
And depression speaks in a lot of different ways, and usually it's about what we think and feel about ourselves.
And
so
then
you may I'm a failure, or I can do this, but I can't do that. Right. So that's what I'm getting to.
And
for people
your denial,
to be able to identify with.
And that denial of it.
Yeah.
Once you pull that denial, burn off your back, you feel better, and then everything will start to. The picture will start to, I guess, become clear, and you'll see more deeper and these are your issues. But I hit that slump where it's like, what's going on? I feel behind. I feel like I'm not there. I'm not caught up with my seasoned brothers around me. Why are my booms not positive? Why are they roadblocks? Why are they not clear highways for me?
And I'm gonna have Lindell question, but I was gonna ask, even when he's done, I'm gonna pose the question to the therapist of, give us some tangibles of what do those booms look like for Black men, or could look like, or in your line of work, what you've seen over the years. What are those triggers? How does depression manifest itself in our men? What are some of those life events that can happen that we may not know necessarily that are booms, but they really are? So once Lindell answers, I'm gonna swing it back to you guys to answer that for our listeners.
Man, I really like two things. Hearing the men speak, and especially the Marcus, it's like you realize more and more how spiritually homeless we are. You can physically go to a church, and there's churches on every corner. But if you can't, and it was very, very wise what you did, you stepped down when you could have played that out as far as when she came to you with that. But to be spiritually homeless and to be beautifully broken as a black man, these are some things that, in all honesty, can haunt you for a long time. And to answer the question, like who did I turn to? I'm almost jealous, bro. I'm like, man, you've had somebody to turn to, because for me, all I had to turn to was my mirror. That's it. And that's
what
it.
You gotta understand, brother. The mirror push you where it can push me.
Yeah.
I was looking at the mirror, but mentally avoiding it. You were in inventorying yourself.
Yeah.
I had to sit down and get again broken, and then so technically, you got a clear view.
Yeah.
I had to, hit a few detours. For example, coming here today, we had to take a detour to get around. Right.
Right.
You had a clean straight shot.
Right.
I had to detour a little bit to get to my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see?
I like that.
You see, brother?
Oh yeah.
That's the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, I see his point though. When it's just you, and as we are born to need, I'm not gonna say need, but we were created to employ interdependence and need people. So when you're on that island of feeling by yourself, I see both ends. Both ends can be a dangerous space to be in if you don't recognize and don't know how to cope with just having you, because that can turn to other things of suicidal and nobody wants me and nobody needs me anyway, so let me go to this extreme. So I see both ends of it.
And,
so you said you had Jude.
Oh, I had me. I've had me for a long time. I'm thankful for my praying grandmother, because I can guarantee you that the dark moments that I've had, and I've been pretty solid as far as confident in my music and singing and now acting and all of that. Those are on the outside. You can do these things with ease. But when you have yourself, when nobody's around, of course God is always there. But sometimes, real talk, you feel like maybe he's not.
Right.
you like maybe, so but when walls are closing in on you and you're doing everything that you possibly can that you think makes sense until you reach a point where, okay, God, I really need some help. Like, send somebody. And even then, you go back to your mirror. It's like everything that you're looking for, everything that you actually need is already in you and it's in front of you. So, because God is he's not a puppet master. And that's the thing that I think I learned with when it comes to churches. I grew up in churches, of course. We sang in churches. That's where we got our start, right? We got all of that.
Shouted.
We got all of that. We got all of that. After you're done shouting, sweating out your weave and all that, when it's done, how broken are you still?
Right, that's my point.
How broken are you still? So I really commend churches and organizations that do cater to the mental aspect of your spiritual brokenness, because you don't have to remain broken. But again, when it comes to us, when we deal with us, how embracing are we? How welcoming are we? How encouraging are we? And when we were talking about the business, I didn't want to launch a T-shirt line and all that. I was just like, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick to music and acting. But for my followers, I've always talked about love and relationships and all of that good stuff because I think it matters. But more so than anything, what I really want to represent is that if you don't start loving yourself, that means getting to the root of the mental, the spiritual, the whatever you need to, because eventually you're going to run into broken people who you manifest.
Or start seeing yourself, and once you see yourself, once you see yourself in the person, what do you do now?
Yeah.
That's good what you just said. You're going to run into broken people that you manifest. So basically what you're saying is that inner brokenness It's what you've manifested into reality. That's good.
And then we fall in love with dysfunction.
That's yeah.
We
that's
fall
that's
in
deep.
love with dysfunction.
That's
and
deep.
so going back to like even my mother, bless her heart, she's out of the situation. But I think from a generational standpoint, if you're not introduced to certain things, how you talking like you said your cousin's 25, and how and how you deliver something to certain generations is way different. I'm 38. I come from that. Boy, you better get out there and get it. You better figure it out. Versus, well, I might need a little guidance. But it's like if you don't have that, then again, you're traveling throughout life with nobody to rely on but you and a little bit of instinct. And instinct can only take you so far. And then you learn those tough lessons in the worst ways possible. And then you wonder why you are where you are. Because people can look so amazing, at a beautifully set table. But keep in mind, whoever's walking up to that table, they need something that your pride has not allowed you to ask them for. So when it starts to deal with our people, like I said, I didn't want to launch a t-shirt line. People were excited, and I love it, and I love the support that the people have given. But I looked at that when we were talking, and I was just like, man, we do go, how much is that? I can't get no discount. I can't, that's too much. No, this is what it is. This
Supporting
is
the movement.
it's a movement. Let's love black women. Let's love black men. Let's love black children. Like it's a movement, not just for the sake of saying it, but it's because we need each other. The only thing that can break a systemic system the way that it's been set up for them is relying on us and funding everything that we possibly can so that the communities that are filtered with them, they have no choice but to go because we've bankrupted what they've been trying to do. So when we come to a point where we don't even rely on each other, or hey, what's up, man? You good? All right, you don't really mean that. No, are you good? No, are you good? How's your family? How's your heart? You still struggling? You having suicidal thoughts? Black men think about that too. Because we reach a point where we're like, man, these walls are closing in. Ain't nobody here.
That's what I was saying.
Well, that's a good point. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's what I was saying about we don't think about from that perspective, those walls that are closing in. From our mental health therapist perspective, can you guys share with us some of those booms, some of those triggers, some of those manifestations in the physical of what depression could look like?
Well, I'd like to say something to set up
That's fine.
my brother here, because the question that you asked, the way that you asked it, is the actual condition. And you said, would you please share with us a thought that someone else who may not recognize it? And that is particularly relevant to our community because we master at taking the dysfunctional
And making it functional.
and making it normal to the point where, what you crying about, boy? I've been through that. Pick
That
up.
ain't nothing.
That's nothing. It's normal. And then when you do that for generations, the farther away you get from the source of that, you forget why you learned that coping skill. I saw my mama do it. I saw my daddy do it.
What about the class one? Oh, don't worry about him. He's a little touched.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we find our
Hear
ways
that
to
from
do
somebody
it.
coming up. Oh, just don't mind judging. He's a little touched.
He's special. Well, we used to say he's special.
And it's normal. And so we find our ways, and it's a coping skill. So these things I'm saying are not meant to be criticisms of us.
Yeah.
This is survival.
It's survival.
Yeah.
And we master in resilience. We master in response.
Yes.
What we haven't learned how to do is learn how to recognize our mastery, and now let's be proactive and create. Let's get in front of the problem instead of always responding to the problem. So I wanted to set that up and then let my brother talk about the more specific
Yes.
areas.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good conversation, guys. But you had asked the question about the triggers and then what the booms look like. And it's a thing, according to certain literature, it's this ideal, this theory about re-experiencing trauma. And the literature suggests that there are three ways: from a physiological standpoint, from a cognitive standpoint, and then from a psychological standpoint. I like to throw also from a spiritual standpoint in there too. But from a physiological standpoint, there's some workout. The book titled "Body Keeps the Score."
Yes, keeps
and
score,
just
that's
when
right.
you think you're